What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Forexfunded here. Just handling a little few things on the back end, and then we'll get right into this analysis. As always, if you are interested in all of my analysis, all of my signals, everything that comes with me, check the links in the description for my Discord, all that kind of good stuff. But give me a second, and we will get right into it so we can go over, today or this week rather on gold. Let's see. Only one person in here. Two people watching. Jesus Christ. What do I do this for? No, I'm just kidding. So yeah. I am feeling a bit bullish today on gold. And let's just kind of go over that a little bit. So, if you're in the Discord, you know that we ended up taking a buy right about here, and we were targeting. I'm not gonna say we were targeting 1,300 pips, but we got a nice 350 pips, and then overnight came back to stop loss, a nice little 60 pip stop loss. But at the end of the day, we hit three take profit, so hopefully you took some money off the board. But if we're just looking at the charts, let's go to a higher time frame and start there, I guess. So we all know we've been selling off for a little while now. The whole oil crisis has created I can't really say a demand for the dollar, but has been pushing the dollar up, which in turn has been pushing gold down. So, it is what it is. In terms of fib from this low to our high, we're right above 7.8. I don't know if um, I don't know how much I like the fact that we didn't tap it, but we were right there because it's kind of telling me maybe we can come tap 7.8. In terms of the large fib, we're basically in the middle of no man's land. Part of the reason why, even if we get in buys today, I'm not looking to take it up high like some crazy couple thousand pips. It is basically just a pullback because it does seem like we want to go a bit lower. If we're looking at the big fib, 4,900, possible 4,800 is still on the cards. Um, Going back down to a 1 hour, you can't really see anything else there. So 15-minute is where you can start to see a bit more. So obviously we have this big resistance right now. If you take a look at what happened when we opened, so we opened right here, right? We kind of just fucked around. There wasn't any crazy gap or anything, but we did end up pushing down and establishing a good low of the day. From there, we broke up higher, above the opening price. So that's your first bit of bullish sign. Then we pulled back to a fib, right? So here we pulled back to 61, in the middle of 61 and 78. It is what it is. Um, Started to go back up again. This is where we got in our buys. We broke higher. And that's what we could talk about right now is that break higher. So that break higher should be a little bit of a bullish sign to anybody because it's a higher high, right? And what came from that higher high was a higher low, right? Well, kind of was a higher low. So that in itself is telling you like the price is trying to go bullish, but we do have a lot of sellers right now, so you can't really just take that with and say I'm just gonna buy, right? But obviously, big rejection candle from the high, so that if you were in a trade, that would have gotten you out. It should have gotten you out. I mean, it's a big bearish rejection candle. You should be getting out. We did not break any lower, so like I said, that's a good bullish sign. And I do feel, if they want to continue this healthy bear trend, we should pull back, right? I have two fibs on my chart. So one is from this most recent 1 hour, 4 hour lower high, and then one is from the high from the consolidation, right? You can kind of see it better on 1 hour. So we have the big fib, and then where did all this come from? Well, the last main place is right here. So those are my two fibs. I look for a golden zone off either of them if we're able to get a buy for a possible sell. I don't really know where exactly it's going to stop though. That's okay though. Going over to silver, let's see what silver is showing us. So silver ended up coming to one of my buy zones, which is that 7-8 stacked with 6-1. It only tapped 78, so smaller term 78. But obviously, we're gonna want to see both of our metals moving in unison. Is that the right word? Unison? I don't know. We're gonna want to see both of them moving the same. So if we see silver moving with a good bull pressure, then you can kind of expect gold to do the same. Um, Now, at the same time, it can just be a pullback because if you look at what happened from our high over here to our low, right, we came to golden zone and fell, right? So if you use those highs to our low, you could also get a golden zone over here from 83.5 to 85 and then fall lower, which is fine. It's fine, right? But just some reasons for how I mentioned that, maybe we don't want to try and swing this at all time high, right? 400 pips is all you need sometimes. I'm going over here to some indices. So most of the time in recent time, indices have been moving also in line with gold and silver. Silver's kind of been a little disconnect because there is a investors look at them differently. Silver has more uses, right? Whereas gold is basically just a safe haven, right? But even in all the missiles they're dropping, like there's a shit ton of silver in the missiles. Not that that matters, but it's an example of why silver can be moving differently. There's a lot of real world uses for silver versus gold where it's like we kind of just use it to store our value. But here on US 30, what we can see is we have our low and then a pretty big push up, a pullback, and then another push down, right? And that left a higher low. So I'm not saying, oh my God, we're going to reverse. We're going all the way to the top. I'm not saying that. I'm simply saying that it does look like we can expect a little bit of bullishness today from indices, right? We'll have to see what happens at 9:30 US Open. But if we can get a nice break above this high, we should be good to push a bit higher, 800 pips higher towards 50, 61, possibly 78, right? I don't trade indices anymore. I haven't touched them in years, but the correlation between the two has been very strong, so I've been keeping it in mind recently. But if we do break that high with sufficient volume at the open, I can expect any one of the three targets. And if you want to understand what I'm talking about the correlation, so this big blue candle. Okay, hold on. Jesus fuck. This big blue candle is our 9:30 open on Friday, right? Big blue and then big red, just kind of fucking people over, right? Go over to silver at 9:30 on Friday 9:30, right? You have a rejection candle and then you start your big sell, right? Okay, cool. Go to gold. What happened? 9:30. Same thing. Big rejection candle trying to tell you you want to go up, and then here comes the real move with the big sell. So if all of your pairs are kind of moving in the same direction, then you can not use it as an entry signal, but use it as confirmation that if you're thinking it should short and everything's going short, probably right, right? You can go over to NAS and do the same thing. It's not as clear. Well, actually, it is as clear. They're all moving the same. But same thing, big blue, 9:30, and then you start selling off, right? You can go over to SPX, same fucking thing, right? They all move the same. So if they're all in unison, you take it with, however you want to use it. NAS, basically same thing. A lot more chop, a lot more consolidation. I don't understand how the fuck people trade this. But we have a low which took all this liquidity and then bounced right back up, um, and then pulled back pretty hard, right? I don't think it hit any fib nicely, right? Yeah, basically in the middle of. It's not perfect, but my OCD is gonna kill me. Basically in between, 61 and 78, closer to 78. So it's kind of telling you might want to come to 78, but it is showing you reason why you might want to bounce up, right? We're just in that range, and we can come all the way back up towards 78, 61, and be fine. SPX basically the exact same as NAS. Like you could barely tell those charts are different. I mean, the consolidation is bigger here, but same thing. All three pairs lining up, all three indices lining up with why you might want to be trying to buy gold. So we just have to see what happens. Come 9:30 to 10 o'clock open, maybe we'll be able to get an entry on gold. Going over to oil, you're gonna kind of want to see the opposite on oil. You're gonna kind of want to see a bearish move, right? So what do we have here? From our high to our low, we have came towards 50%, stuck in the middle, and starting to reject. So that's showing you that you could come down a bit towards 89, 86 area before going up higher, right? So that's good. Now, going back to gold, so we can, now that we related all that, let's talk about gold. So gold had just done a very nice 50 fib, right? So for today, these fib extensions are pretty good targets, right? 37, 55, and 75. You don't need more than that, especially with how gold has been moving lately. It will reverse very quickly. And like I said, big support resistance right here. So first route is if we just break straight above it and then we retest, you're gonna want to try to take a buy off of that retest, right? Second option is if we still fuck around, if we do manage to pull back at all, right? So one thing you can do is another confluence you can do is if you have a range, right? Look at the midpoint of that range. Because the way that the big boy algorithms work, they're going to try to average a lot of shit towards the middle of a range. So if this is your middle of your range, there will be a lot of orders there both ways. So if you come back to that area and you reject it, um, you know, it can be an added confluence. And you can see that that area has basically been support resistance. You have a wick, and then you just break clear through it, break clear through it, break clear through it, wick, break, wick, and then just pump. Same thing here. So that area could be used as a good buy zone if you can make it match with other things, right? You don't want to buy just off of that. But, if you have a 38 there, or say it bounces off 50 and then closes back above that zone, cool, whatever. I can kind of show you that in action over here with the prior, consolidation zone. So if this is our midpoint, look at the same type of price action that I showed you guys right there, right? So it'll basically be used as support and resistance because it's like a point of control or whatever people want to call it, right? And you can see there's a lot of just big breaks through it or wicks. Even then, once you started to break downwards, you used it as resistance again. So, or yeah, resistance. Um, so that's just another tool you can add to your toolbox. And at the same time, you can keep that there and say that's an area I would like to try to take profit if I'm able to get a buy, right? But you're going to mix that with other shit. Like, for example, it's in between 50 and 61, big 50, big 61. Um, I don't know if we have, let's see, what is it? ATR. See where our ATR is. I fucking hate that color. Make it fucking white. Our ATR for the day is shit. Our ATR is right there. So our average true range, which is just the average range for the past 20 days. You can change all that shit. This is one indicator I use sometimes, so I don't have to calculate it myself. But it's the last 20 days, the average move. So that is exactly where that midpoint was. Obviously, this is not something you're using to trade. It's just something you're using to help assist in a take profit, right? Because if you come to the average range for the past 20 days, you can still pump above it, but the chances are you won't. And even then, that's 1,400 pips from where we're at currently. So if you get 1,400 pips in a day, just fucking be happy. So that is, how I'm feeling right now. Obviously, like, let's just speak realistically. We do have that support at the bottom, right? And if we do blow that support, that scared the fuck out of me. Where will we go? Where will we go next? And that would be probably that 50 fib, large 50 fib, right? Large 50 fib is, like I mentioned, 49.11, and then the next target would be 4,800. So, sorry, looking kind of messy. I won't lie. If we just say fuck everything we talked about and we get a firm close below the lows, right? We will probably be targeting that 4,900. You could look for a quick, right? You can look for that quick break, retest, and a resumption, which is basically what we had got on Friday. Um, where was it? Basically, what we had got on Friday in multiple occasions. So, for example, if this was your low, you break it, you retest, you resume. If you do this and then here again, and then if you use the same principle and you have your lows over here, right? You broke them, you retested them, and you fell lower. And I believe that was even 38%, right? Perfect 38. So you can look for the same kind of thing um, with the lows, right? And honestly, you can even argue that's what the resistance is that we're playing with right now, right? Because you have your lows, you broke them, you retested them, you came lower, and then you're just still using that, right? So that's another reason why I don't want to say I feel bullish, but something we like to see, right? So if you look at all the other lows that got used as resistance after the support was broken, it uses them like once or twice, and then you just continue down. Here, we've been using that resistance for a while. So the more you use, think of it like a boat. If you have a boat and it has 9 holes in it, like that's fucked. And if you have now 12 holes and 13 and 14 and 15, well, your boat is falling apart. So the resistance is trying to fall apart. Doesn't mean it's gonna fall apart, but it's trying to fall apart. Obviously, with we know how gold acts and everything, it can easily just push right back down, break lower, and then we'll just try to take a sell, right? But for me, I'm not really content trading in this range. I don't like trading ranges. I like trading, I can't say breakouts, but trending price, right? This is a trending price. You pull back, that would have been your entry. So I would prefer to take either a fib retest buy, a breakout retest buy, or a breakout retest sell. Those are the 3 times I would trade this. I'm not just gonna say, oh well, all my other pairs tell me we're gonna go bull. Let me buy. No, that's not how that works. Um, you have to wait for the confirmation. So we'll see what happens. As I mentioned, 9:30 to 10 should give us a little bit more clarity. And what I mean by that, we'll just talk US 30, for example. If US 30 15, I guess. If we start to see a big pump, right? If we start to see a 9:30 candle comes in and you go boom, and it doesn't just go like that, and we just start breaking the high, that would be seen for me as the bullish confirmation, right? Now, it could also say fuck it and come all the way down. For me, that same confirmation is going to be the lows. So if we break the lows with volume, we'll probably come lower, which means our buy idea on gold should probably be forgotten, right? But at the same time, just because US 30 does that doesn't mean gold is going to. Most of the time it does, but as always, check your pairs, right? Check everything. Silver, for example, if we have that big bullish, you'd want it to break the prior highs, possibly retest, and then break your next set of highs. That way you can kind of target these highs, which is where I mentioned that fib is at, right? That bearish fib. So we will just have to see. As always, the Discord gets all of my updates, all of my signals. They have a chat room if they want to ask me shit. Um, you know, I'm guessing everyone watching this is in the Discord already. I'm not gonna lie. There's only 3 of y'all, and I'm over here like pouring my heart out for y'all. So this algorithm doesn't pick me up by the end of next month. I'm never doing lives again. Now I'm just playing. But if for some reason one of you or all 3 of you is not in the Discord, check it out. Right, the links in the description. Check out the Instagram, whatever it may be. Let's see what we get today. We all know it's already Monday. It's only Monday, so we have all week to trade. But hopefully you guys got some knowledge from this live, and hopefully you can implement it in your trading. And maybe we'll see some of you new faces in the Discord. But anyways, I hope y'all have a great day.